Nerds International proudly presents.
This is a bonus episode, Behind the Beggars. Essentially, because of Bill Gates, we're going to have to... We lost an entire episode of the Foreign Beggars.
Damn you, Bill.
Recording the whole adventure, everything, because, we can't have them play the same adventure twice. They'll know what happens. So, yeah, essentially what happened was a Windows update made me halfway through editing lose all of my work. It was I turned off automatic updates, and still throughout the whole fucking thing it was bugging me. Do you want to update in an hour? Do you want to update in an hour? And I kept on saying
no. Why not now? Ooh.
Yeah, and then I thought, fuck it, if it's gonna keep bugging me when I'm trying to edit, I'll just fucking I'll just update it now. I saved my work, shut down my computer, and then it wiped
Surprise!
my whole, yeah, exactly. Wiped my whole computer. Couldn't even boot in safe mode or anything like that.
God.
So we lost the whole episode.
We tried really hard to recover it, and it was just a no-go.
Yeah. We tried everything, and I'm gonna have to obviously rewrite the adventure. We're gonna have to replay it, and then we're gonna have to re-edit it, which will take fucking forever. So we thought, in the meantime, what we're gonna do is do a Behind the Beggars. Now, what is that? What we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about what goes into an episode. We're going to talk about some other stuff, our favourite moments, things like this.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fun. And we're going to end with an interview with two couple of famous celebrities, Grimald and Minoc.
They're on their way here now.
Yeah, they're on their way here.
They promised us they'd be on time, but they're late.
So yeah, they should be on their way right now. They're in a limo, right? They're drinking champagne. I mean, they're loving it. So, listeners, you got that to look forward to. But for now, let's get on with it, and let's us three have a chat about the Foreign Beggars.
Yes.
With Behind the Beggars. So, first off, let's have a chat. Why, when we could do an actual play using any system in the world, did we choose Dungeon Crawl Classic?
Because it's awesome.
Because there's many reasons that we did, and I have to say one of the reasons that I sort of did at the time was because I just spent quite a lot of money on the book.
We had it. Yeah,
you know, it's 25 quid, and I wanted to play more of it. I mean, that's why a lot of people start actual plays, and they don't end up actually being anything worthwhile or worth listening to. They just go, I want to put a mic in the room and play, and then you listen
to us play.
But I sort of wanted to play more, and I wanted to demonstrate why this game is so fucking cool, but also give people something that was listenable, not just plonk a mic in a room and record our game, but also go, hey, look, these are some of the sort of things you can do with the system. And that was part of the reason I chose DCC, because at the time, I think, Nick, you and I were having a bit of nerdgasm over it.
Oh, mate, when your hardback book turned up, we were just like, look at the size of this. And
look how much content it's got.
There was just so much stuff, and then obviously all the supplements, and the more we digged into DCC, the more we realised how well supported it was, and how great the company is, and how much stuff there just is out there for DCC. We was like, this is the perfect fit for an actual play.
Yeah, because we just started playing it, haven't we? I think at the time we just played Intrigue at the Court of Chaos on my birthday.
That's right.
Which we later then played a more modified version of it on the Foreign Beggars, and we were quite lucky because Nick had basically forgotten the adventure, because the first time we played it, you were blind drunk.
Sure was.
Good work.
God,
I remember you sitting there being like, I can't remember this at all, mate.
Yeah, and even when we got to the pub a few hours later, you were like, I don't remember that bit.
That bit did happen, did it?
Yeah. But so we just played our first adventure, and we were like, this is incredible. What would be really cool is if we bought the the treasure chest, which is basically a big box that comes with a load of adventures, and played through it in its entirety.
That's it.
But that wasn't our original concept. Our original concept was to get Castle Greyhawk.
I meant Castle White Rock,
which is one of the longest DCC adventures of all time, but it's actually one of the previous ones made for D&D 3.5. But what we're going to do is get that and play through that in the DCC RPG and try to finish it. That was the original concept.
That's right.
Because I saw it online for a deal for 50 quid, and then the guy flaked out, and we were like, what's another concept we could do? And we were like, let's buy the treasure chest and play through the whole thing. we haven't really stuck to that.
No.
We sort of gone from adventure to adventure thing, depending on what we wanted to do.
Yeah, well, because it's storyline progression as well. It's like, yeah, we could go through this, but then you've got to find ways to fit it all together, which you can do, but because of what's happened, I suppose the sort of natural progression is kind
I
of...
think the game's flowing well.
And it's, you know, it's kind of... I think it's made it more interesting, because if someone else owns that treasure chest, they're just like, all right,
All this
okay,
comes
next one.
and it's like, oh, wait a minute.
I'm waiting for this, I'm ticking these off the list, whereas these are, like, you know, in essence, completely random, because they're from everywhere
it adds a bit
else.
more unpredictability, and also I feel like one of the reasons DCC makes such a good actual play thing is because it's fast.
Yeah.
And I feel like that, to me, is what makes good actual play systems. You see, if you get some that are slow and plodding and they descend into rules discussion, it doesn't work.
Boring.
I mean, I feel like Genesis, as great as it tells good stories, would be pretty terrible.
Wouldn't work, yeah.
For actual plays. I've listened to a couple and they're pretty bad. I won't name names, obviously, but then you get DCC and Savage Worlds, for example. I think really work, and if you had the right GM in Pathfinder, that could work as well.
Oh, yeah,
People
totally.
say that's slow, but we've never played a slow game. in
Our
Pathfinder.
Pathfinders have always been pretty extreme. Would you say that DCC's a very nice system to be able to put your own little spin on it? Because obviously we like to put our little TTT kind of mark on each episode, so they're not like from the book. We always put a little spin on it.
Because there are certain things I have discovered because when we started playing it and started doing the actual play. Well, we were relatively new, not to role playing, but we're relatively new to that system specifically. And there's a couple of nuances it has over, say, D&D and things like this.
Yeah.
Well, a lot. And there's a couple of things since I've discovered that we're doing differently, and there's a couple of things we do differently simply for the sake of keeping game flow going.
Yeah,
don't we?
exactly.
Yeah, well, a couple of things were pointed out by some followers on Reddit, weren't they?
Yeah, and the thing about it is that it's a very malleable system, and that I've noticed 100% within the community, because you get things like Cyber Sprawl Classics, which is a ongoing magazine where somebody's basically converting it to be a cyberpunk game, and then you've
sounds
got
awesome.
things like the Gong Farmer's Almanac, which is another magazine, and the things that they have in that are just ridiculous. Like they've got the you can play a chicken. And
Oh, man.
and then somebody had Trenchcool Classics, where it's a World War II game and stuff like this, and it's like the stuff that people do with this, where they can change it and alter it. It's just incredible. So yeah, that's what also makes it a good actual play game, because sometimes coming up with stuff on the fly is easy, and it means that we don't have to slow it to the crawl to look stuff up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think that's part of the reason that I love it so much. And one of the things that we wanted to do with this series was showcase what makes this game so fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
because we enjoy the hell out of it.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've done this and done it with such a good variety of missions as well, because Intrigue of the Court Chaos is one of my favourite adventures of all time. But then we had that, and then the Croaking Fane with all the frogs having sex with each other, and all of this stuff. But that couldn't be more different to some of the other ones we've done.
That's true, yeah.
Like when we did Sailors on the Starless Sea, which is an amazing adventure, but it's so different to the Frog one,
totally.
and so different to Intrigue at the Court of
It's
Chaos.
almost like you're playing a different game, but you're not. It's just, the flavour of this whole setting is just so varied.
It allows our characters to get in a completely new, fresh situation.
Yeah.
And like it's a new puzzle we have to work out.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
except all the puzzles are usually let's run past it.
That's leg it and not try and not die, yeah.
Good
yeah,
tactic.
Yeah.
One of the things as well is let's talk about how it actually started. I mean, we talked about why we picked it, but one of the questions I get a lot, and we have answered it on the podcast, but I seem to still get it a lot, is how we started. And people ask, did you start with level 1 characters, or did you start with level 0 characters from a funnel? And the answer is, I just wanted to clear this up, we played a funnel before the game and then ended up with those characters, and that's how we chose them. It just so happened that we had a dwarf and a hobbit, and well, we call them hobbit in the book, it's called halfling, but we prefer hobbit. And that's how we ended up with those two characters, and then we started them at level 1. The reason that we didn't want to broadcast the funnel is because
There's too much going on, isn't it?
Yeah, we
There's
didn't feel
one
like it.
person playing 4 people, and then it's sort of like you're going to lose interest in the characters that
follow.
die off
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
Well, if you've only got 2 players as well, usually
Yeah.
a funnel is for like 25 dudes. So I mean, this is going to be insane. You've been playing like 10 people. I know what most people do is they focus on a main one and then wait till that guy dies, but it would still be nuts.
Oh, man.
It would be insane. And
Do a
so
cookie one.
I don't think. I mean, it might be fun to listen to, but I didn't necessarily agree. And what I was doing at the time was reading the Fafford and Grey Mouser books, and those had a focus on 2 characters. And I thought, seeing as we've got 2 players, we might as well just do it like that and just have it focus on these central 2 characters.
Yeah.
Which sort of brings us neatly onto our next point, is that this is a very low survivability game, right?
Oh yeah.
And sort of having a plan to have a game revolve around 2 characters that has a very low survivability is a risky manoeuvre.
Yeah.
So risky or stupid?
Yeah, I think
A bit
stupid.
both,
I think
yeah.
stupid. And I even though we were new to the system when we started here, I knew that.
Yeah, we did.
Because we'd already played it a couple of times.
Yeah.
So how are you guys finding it?
Well, at the end of every single episode, we're always like, "How was it?" It was like, "Well, I'm clutching at straws again." You know, I'm always sitting there. We're always sweating here with anticipation.
Tired. Yeah.
We're tired. We're worn out. Like because
You've usually got about either 2 or 3 HP.
Yeah. Lost a limb or something's been changed for forever. It's great. I love it. You know, I do feel genuine sympathy for these 2 guys though. I do think they've been pushed through the mill.
Nick's right
Few
as well.
times.
Like you always end up with something that's changed about you. Like you like. I mean, Minoc lost a leg.
Yeah.
I turned into a scaly monster.
Yeah, and then you've got yeah. You're always on like 2 HP. You've either lost all your gear or you've lost a significant amount of it, or something like that, or something in the world has got really goofed up. Like there's always something. There's always something, and it's like it's so funny.
They deserve a holiday, these 2.
But do you find that this game changes the way that you play because of that? And I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Considering 2 things, like first of all, this is a low survivability game, and you're playing with just 2.
And there's only 2 people.
Well,
yeah.
think about our tactics of this isn't working out. Let's run away.
Yeah, well, you have to, because it's like, does the party die, or do we just try and push on this way? And it's like, do you know what? Nah, it's not worth it. Let's just run.
I would like to back up the fact that I think it adds to it, because if we're playing these 2 characters and obviously it's low survivability, then we're playing them like even better than we would if we had like a stock amount of characters in the background to replace them with.
Yeah,
because they are fragile, and we're playing them as if it was real, because they know that they're fragile.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's realistic, I think.
Yeah.
And also, if there's a high chance that you can die. What does a hit point represent? If you've got 25 hit points, right, and you're on 2, that means you're basically your meat's falling off your bones.
Oh,
at
mate,
that
you're
point.
a mess. Yeah,
And
exactly.
the thing is, if you would run away.
Yeah,
you would at least attempt it. I think it's really funny because I think I'd like to see more of that in films. Do you know what I mean? Where it would be so funny if like, I don't know, the hobbits in Lord of the Rings were getting battered and they were just like, right, let's leg it.
Fuck this, I'm going back home.
Fuck this.
Yeah, and they just leave.
I like that they're from Manchester now.
Back to Shire.
Fuck this shit, I'm getting a pasty. But I like the I like the fact that there's just 2 of you as well, because it's a very different. It's a very different dynamic to what you're used to, and also the fact that you really don't want these characters to die. I think it definitely.
I think their relationships really kind of strengthened over the course of the campaign.
Yeah, 100%. Which is why it kind of sucks that we left it on the sort of cliffhanger that we did. Was you clutching Minoc's mangled body?
Dun dun dun.
The next thing I wanted to ask you guys is, obviously we've only really done 7 episodes so far, but I feel like those episodes themselves have been sort of self-contained stories. They all link together and things like this. But what do you feel out of all of those episodes thus far have been your favourite moments? You can list as many as you want.
There's a few. First one for me, hands down, is the whole thing with the puppet and the puppet in the black magic, and that when we was coming out of prison, that killed me.
So Minoc, the dwarf, slips his hand through his sock, and what are you going to do with that?
Oh,
I'm just
what
gonna
the?
go.
Wait,
I'm just gonna go.
There's a snake. Wait, don't move. There's a snake.
Hello.
Oh my!
Minoc is talking.
I am a sock puppet.
Hello, sock puppet.
Well, as you can see here, this is my hand.
No, it's clearly not. It's clearly a snake. We've just been thrown in prison for doing magic, and now you're popping poppet socks all over the place.
The guy at the reception where you've gone to collect your goods, he looks at you and he's like, "Shit! A snake!"
So
I'm just gonna.
Shit!
I'm gonna.
sock on your hand.
Mine up in a hand sock puppet.
Yeah, that was funny as well.
Really good.
And James, how about you?
I like the Owen Lean arc with him
When he got blounded.
Yeah, when he got blounded.
Next up is going to be Owen, who takes a turn and he's like, "Bloody lions! I'll show you who's the lion." No, it doesn't work. Anyway, fuck you! And he goes to attack, but fumbles. As he goes to slash with his pen, his all the ink flies out and goes into his eyes, and he goes, "Ah! I'm blound! I have been blound! Curses! Who should think of an end like this? Blound by my own ink."
That's so funny.
I'm blound!
When he came through the dungeon with us, and then yeah, it was just brilliant.
I've been blound!
That's so funny.
Yeah, he was quite useless.
That whole bit was great. Dragging him along when we was doing like the potions, when we had to drink the different drinks.
Yeah, well, this
the
sort
lions and
brings
stuff.
us on to the next point, because the funny thing is that with this show, a lot of people like the NPCs that come along, because we allow patrons to become NPCs.
Yeah.
And what I'll often do is have an NPC come along with you on an adventure, but I can't just make them be all the bad guys.
No,
so
no,
they're
that's
often
right.
completely useless.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
it.
so we've had Jason Connolly, who was a scribe, who was just there to write down what you were doing. We had Owen Lean, who was a big fat noble. We had who was the last one? There was Wolseley, who was an elf who was 6 years old but sounded like he was 70.
Oh yeah.
We've also got Zovia, who's the
Oh, she's the ultimate goddess of law, but
Yeah.
she doesn't actually really do much other
We
than
had
just
Sean
rule.
Richer.
Sean Richer, who was the guard of innumerable items.
Stumpy, the lawyer.
Yeah.
Stumpy the lawyer. Oh, we had Peter Beckett as well, who was
yeah.
all representative. And then you had
Didn't we have Hanson? And he was a villager.
Terry Hansen.
Oh, he gave it away
And
in the
then
first
he
one,
mucked
wasn't it?
us
I
up.
recognise you lot. It's like,
yeah.
shut up.
Yeah, he was a really stupid villager. So
Going up that mountain, wasn't it? Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we've had a lot, and I wanted to ask you guys, out of all of them, which was your favourite NPC? And it doesn't have to be all of those guys, but it can be any NPC you've seen so far.
Oh, one of my absolute favourites was it's got to be Keith. Stabby Keith. It was Marchio's
It's
Underling.
underling. Yeah.
So Marzio, he was
Marzio.
actually another one of the Patreon guys, and he was a wizard. And he during the Kingspire arc, so there was this. He was trying to do a ritual to summon back the Elder Kith, who were basically the forebearers of the elves. And essentially, what happened is that when he did that, he accidentally took you guys back in time with him and his acolytes. And one of his acolytes was named after one of our patrons, and he was a bloke called Keith.
Yeah.
And he was a mute. And yeah,
he was the best.
There was a point where you got Marzio's wand, gave it to Keith, and you were like, "Go on, give it a go." And then Keith had no idea how to use it, and the thing just basically set off like a firework in the room.
Here, Keith, want a wand?
Yeah, you hand the wand to Keith, and as you do so, he gives it a flick of the wrist to sort of test it out, like testing out the weight in his hand, and it pops off some magic, and it sort of flies around the room, and you can hear some like crackling and pops and things like this, and then Keith sort of ducks as this is flying around the room. Both of you are going to need to give me a reflex save, please.
20.
8.
Okay, James, with an 8, one of the little sparks flies off and hits you. You take 1 damage. He just drops it on the floor. His eyes widen. He looks very, very feared of this little one. Yeah, Keith was pretty cool. He's on the lawful plane with you guys at the moment. So, but he's obviously just chilling, having a good time.
He's enjoyed himself. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was one of my
I'm trying to think of one that tickled me, because I said Owen Lean earlier, but I want to try and pick a different one, because I mean, of course, like Owen's he's gone mad, isn't he? And he's like,
he's definitely a standout character because he's become an essential guy in the plot.
well, yeah, and he's become like a super duper bad guy.
Yeah, he really has. Yeah, I mean, I'd say one of the ones I really liked was David. I don't know if you remember him, but he was the patron in question doesn't like to reveal his full name, so he was just called David.
Nice.
And he was the guy that was buggered to sleep every night.
Oh, right, yeah.
I was just about to say that as well.
Yeah.
But you look after yourself because it's a harsh world out there, and I know how it can be. I myself was buggered to sleep for nights out there when I was homeless.
Well, you've been homeless before.
I certainly was. Buggered to sleep every night I was.
Oh, well, that sounds sad, but why are you here?
Well, I'm a guard.
You like that? How's that working out for you?
No, I hate it, but it's much better than being buggered to sleep every night.
Why don't you join us? You'll never be buggered again, will he, Minoc?
What? No, I'd never go back to being homeless again. I was buggered to sleep every night. I don't want to be buggered to sleep every night again.
Right.
Oh, no.
Clearly the buggering has left long-lasting scars.
Oh, no, I don't speak about it, of course, but...
I got to go therapy tonight because I was buggered to sleep every night.
I liked it when you guys started finishing his sentences, and he's like, see, I would like to go, but I was, and you were like, bugger to sleep every night.
Yeah.
I really liked the witch that named me king in the swamp.
Oh, Rachel.
Yeah.
Rachel
The witch, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was funny, man.
I've got to say, Connolly. Connolly's great, isn't it?
Oh, Jason Connolly, the scribe, when he came with you.
Just because of like his mannerisms and how you played him was just funny as hell.
I liked him because he was a funny juxtaposition to you two. Because the funny thing about him was when you guys, he thought you were going to be some grand adventurers, and when you guys were just debating over to whether or not to open a door, and he was kind of like, he was like, so you don't know whether or not to open a door, and you were just like, look, you can't just open a door.
Yeah. So he's writing it all down, and we was like, you need to cut that bit out. And he was like, what?
Yeah, because Jason Connolly came along to the mission, and the sort of twist for the mission was that he was going to write down everything you did and report it back to your boss.
He was like, stop writing this.
Yeah, so right at the end, you guys had to get him to cut a bunch out, and you threatened him, like saying, yeah, you're going to have to cut that out, or we're going to...
Well, it also, we sort of like persuaded him because it's just like, look,
well, no, it had a bit of. I said, if you're going to write everything down, you better also add the bit when you was like a right coward, and he done something really embarrassing, didn't he? He was like, right, okay,
yeah. He's like, you know what, lads, I'll cut that out. So I mean, the NPCs definitely are extremely fun to play. It gives me an opportunity to make dumbass characters in this comedy setting every time. I'm trying to think of one that is like trying to make a bunch of NPCs that are completely useless is really fun because I can't just have NPCs come along and, as I said, win the mission. So it's really fun. It's really fun making these because they have to be entirely reliant on having a fun personality rather than having any useful skills. And I think that's what makes it so fun.
But that's the thing. They may not be on paper good at anything, but they all have their little points that make them interesting and sometimes do help us out.
Exactly, and one of the saddest things is the fact that they always die very quickly. I mean, that's DCC for you. These guys are low level dudes, and they just tend to die because, well,
it's the nature of the game.
It's the nature of the game.
It's what happens. Yep.
But next up, let's talk about how an episode is made, and we'll try and keep this relatively brief because we don't want to bore you with all the details. However, the first thing that we do is obviously I will usually either pick an adventure or write an adventure, which is what I'm doing at the moment. But usually, obviously, we pick an adventure. And I'll tend to pick one that fits in with the story. So what I'll do is I'll go through all the ones I already have and try to pick one that will fit in with what's going on. So I'll usually just read the intro and be like, could I make this fit? And usually I'll go, well, I could just make them go for a portal, so yes.
Yeah.
And then...
Make it work.
But yeah, and then...
but we don't know. That's the thing.
I was going to say,
know. He said surprise for us every day.
Yeah, he said we as the royal we, but in actual fact, Harrison, the GM, he's literally just taking it and then...
Yeah, we get surprised every record, and it's brilliant.
Exactly. Yeah, these guys just get surprised by it. What I meant is I pick an adventure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll sit down, pick an adventure, and then I'll sit and read it, and I'll print off the maps and stuff like this, and I'll read through the entire thing. Usually, then what I'll do is I'll also make changes because it'll usually say for 4 to 6 adventurers, and I'll go
Okay.
Maybe not.
But yeah, I won't usually do this in any real regimented fashion. What I'll do is I'll just take a couple of notes and be like, okay, this
just
guy,
tweak it a little bit. I suppose.
tweak it a little bit, and go, this guy needs to be ever so slightly weaker because if this Minotaur is meant to kill 6 people, well,
He's gonna wipe out 2 little guys, isn't he?
yeah, exactly.
No, but it makes sense. Yeah.
And so I'll do that, and then I'll just go through. And if there's slight tweaks that need to be done, I'll do it, and I'll do a lot of that on the fly, but I'll do a lot of it beforehand as well. So it's a bit of a half and half thing. Then when it comes to the record, we'll do the entire record, and we do it in this room. And one of the things I tell the guys is every time they do a roll, they need to announce their roll so that it's audible for the people that are listening on the record. What that means is if you roll a number, you say the number you rolled. I got an 18.
Yeah,
even though you can see it, we can see it. Well, the listeners can't.
Oh, there are actually moments where, like me, for instance, my brain for some reason catches up slowly to what I want to say. So I'll sit here and then I'll describe what I want to do, but it'll take me longer, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to do this, and then eventually it'll come out and be like, yeah, that. And then Harrison just goes, could you repeat that, but in a more
concise manner?
Yeah, in a more concise manner. So that's kind of that's what makes the cut. But it's just like they're all ideas that I already thought up, but I just have to say it better.
Yeah, everything.
Well, the only thing is, it's you're enjoying the game a lot, obviously, because we enjoy it every time. You're having fun, but we do have to be a little bit more mindful that obviously someone needs to listen to this and be able to follow it as well.
Because at the table we can get away with doing that because obviously you can get it.
Yeah, and it's at the table when you're playing a normal table game, it's all about just creating a good story together. Whereas this is creating a good story with everyone that's listening, and as a result, it needs to be fast. That's one of the things, and that's what we said earlier about DCC being a great game. And the same goes for both of these guys. They'll come up with an idea on the spot, but I will often get them to repeat something, just do it slightly quicker. For example, there was one in the Lost Kingspire arc where James said, he goes, you know when you're in a cinema with a girl and you want to put your arms up and then put your arm around them to kind of
a yawn stretch.
Do a yawn stretch and then sort of pretend that you're yawning, but then put your arm around me. And he said it like that, and it was like, it's good, it's a great manoeuvre, but it's just the way you've said it is a little bit too slow in the heat of combat while you're going to have the great combat music going on in the background.
Yeah.
So just say that again, but a little bit faster. And that's kind of the two ways that we edit ourselves during a game.
Totally, yeah. Just streamlining it.
Yeah, when you're at a table game, you wouldn't ever say your roll out loud unless you were well excited. Like sometimes you go critical or something like this. But and in addition to that, we do sometimes just say things again. And in addition to that, like sometimes I'll continuously fuck up what I'm saying, and I'll just say it again, which can, like, sometimes I'll go, and into the room comes a giant bear, and you guys know I'm about to say there's a bear in the room, and it ruins the surprise. Which is kind of annoying, and I'll have to say it again because the listeners need to listen to it.
But we've got used to it because it's just like, we obviously doing the podcast and stuff and doing this actual play, obviously there are moments because we're getting excited where we overtalk, but then we instantly know exactly what to do, and then the two of us would shut up and then we'd continue again as if nothing happened, just because it's what we're used to.
I mean, doing a podcast for doing an actual play for entertainment is slightly different. It's like during the exciting parts, you know, usually in a table game you go, oh shit, but now during podcasts sometimes you actually need to shut up because you know that there's going to be music, as James rightly pointed out, and things like this, and it's kind of annoying. And sometimes you see James and Nick like literally with their hands in front of their mouths, like.
And also, there's been moments when like either one of us have been like sort of dancing behind the mic because we're so excited and we have to be quiet. We're just like.
And we also tend to, like, with our normal table games, you can have the, you know, it's absolutely fine to have an out of game chat, you know, a little bit of team, a little bit of planning and stuff like that. Whereas when we're doing the DCC APs, we tend to pretty much do the whole thing in character.
Yeah, it's all in here and all in character. We never ever have out game chats, or it's very, very rarely. The whole thing is in character, and I think it works. It makes for a more entertaining product because a lot, it's all in the heat at the moment, the whole thing, and that's what makes it so much fun. But that's basically how we record the actual episode, and then once that's done, I'll then go and edit it. For anybody that's listened to previous how I do this things, because I've done it on another podcast, the whole thing takes about
It ranges.
It ranges. It
Anything
really
up to
ranges.
days.
But I've done ones that have taken 2 days, so that's 2 8-hour sessions, and I've done ones that have taken just 1 8-hour session. But that's about the range of it.
Yeah.
It depends on how long it is and how many combats it is. Combats take the longest part, and the other bits can be easier. If it's just you guys chatting in a field.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
that's
one
just-
sound effect.
It's one sound effect, yeah.
If it's fights and arrows going off and monsters roaring and all this kind of squelching and all that, it's just I can imagine it's hard work.
The most strenuous scene that ever took its toll on my computer was the frog sex.
I knew it.
The amount of sound effects that had going on at once, that was ridiculous.
Steam was coming out of the laptop.
Yeah, I was chucking coal in it like there was no tomorrow, mate. But the funny thing is because you had the slapping sound.
Oh, yeah.
You had the squelching sound.
Yeah.
Then you had you two and Jason
Eating
Connolly
the gate.
chasing after each other and trying to hit each other.
Yeah.
And all of that actually made my computer slow down.
Oh,
and
man.
I was like, this is getting ridiculous. And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing to myself, giving myself this amount of work.
I remember you
and then,
messaging the group going, that's the most disgusting thing I've ever created.
imagine having to listen to that over and over again to try and sync it up. I was like, what have I done? I can't believe this. Because the book sort of hints at it, but I didn't expect it to go that way. Do you know what I mean? Because the book never full on says, it kind of says it's powerful aphrodisiac and stuff like this. But anyway.
But it does it in such a classy way, doesn't it?
Yeah,
we
it does.
just dirtied it right.
But anyway, once I've done all of the sound effects and stuff like that, that's how long it takes. I won't go into the intricacies of how and stuff like this, but then we export it, upload it. I'll make a thumbnail, and typically I'll do this by using my phone to take a picture of a appropriate picture from the module, and then overlaying the text over it.
Yep. Oodles of good art in there, so we're never stuck for decent
exactly.
cover
And
pictures.
it's usually relating to what's going on in the adventure we've used. So that's basically it.
Then the final
usually-
stage is episode name, which is normally a discussion.
The episode name actually takes forever. Believe it or not, I don't know if people actually give a shit about that at all,
We
really do.
do. Yeah, it's a big deal for us. We're quite proud of our episode names to date, and they are a discussion.
Yeah, because one of the things we never want to do is spoil anything that happens in the episode, but we want it to be that if you've already watched it, you know what the episode title means, so you can go back and watch that one that you like.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's sort of what they mean. I wonder if it actually works.
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know. Well, let us know, guys. Do you enjoy the titles of our DCC episodes or no?
In addition, if there is enough time, because we like to do this, then there'll be a proof listen. So Harrison will complete it, and then me and Nick will give it a once over. If there's any glaring things, then we'll point it out. But they've all been brilliant.
Yeah, after 18 hours of editing, you can be forgiven for missing a small mistake. You know what I mean?
Oh, there's always loads. But the thing is that I'll usually then listen to it myself once I've finished. So it'll usually mean that I've finished it about like 8 PM. Then I'll stay up till like midnight or whatever.
Listening to it. So it's a long process. Not gonna lie.
It is, and it does take its toll. But then the thing is that's. If you want the sound effects and the music and stuff like that, that's what you gotta do. One of the things that we wanted to also cover here was the community and how awesome they've been.
Yeah.
Because DCC, we started playing it simply because we like DCC, and that was sort of the reason that we started it. But one of the reasons that we continued to do it, rather than making it a 4-part miniseries or something like this, was because how much the community embraced us and were nice to us and things like this.
Yeah, man.
When I first posted this on the DCC RPG Google Plus, everyone started saying how much they enjoyed it and how encouraging they were and how much they liked your two guys' characters.
We had a lot of people say, "Long live Grimald and Minoc."
Oh man.
Yeah, and
awesome.
That was really cool. And I guess, how do you guys feel about the community?
Oh, love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And it's honest. Like same as with the Reddit. You know, we post our episodes on Reddit, and people like to engage with us and tell us what they think of it, and that's the best thing.
That's what we need, isn't it?
Exactly, because you just think like, I'm really proud of this product, and I hope everyone likes it. And if you just send it out and it's just, the response is silence, you're like, do I do a good job? Do I do a bad job? Do I carry on making them or whatever? But whereas this community has come back straight away telling us they like it, even talking about like rules of it and all this kind of stuff. And to get that kind of feedback from people is really rewarding.
What I like as well is that people ask questions as well, and that I really like, and get discussions going. I feel like, now correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like DCC RPG, because it's an OSR game, it might be populated by a lot of older people.
Potentially,
and older people, and it seems to me, from what I've heard from other podcasts and things like this, it seems to me it's older people and populated by their kids and people that they've brought in. So they've been taught a very, very well-mannered etiquette. Now that sounds boring, and it sounds like a bit of an old fuddy-duddy thing to say, but the thing about it is that I feel like that's kind of a reason that community is so nice, because rather than elitism and arguing over which rule system is the best and all of this, you listen to, say, for instance, a podcast like Spellburn, which is a really great DCC podcast. When they talk about somebody's Labyrinth Lord podcast, or when they talk about Pathfinder and how much they dislike it, it'll be in a jokey way, those Pathfinder lot over there,
rather than there is only one game and it's D&D.
They often talk about on their what you've been playing segment, rather than what DCC you've been playing this month. They'll be like, I played a bit of Labyrinth Lord, I played a bit of first edition AD&D, things like this, and it's like they're just really embracing of anyone that games, and that's it.
Not just the I only play this.
And they have a much more mature attitude over in the DCC community, and I think that's what I like. I'm all for that, the banter and you're a shithead because you like this game. I like both things. Fun. But the thing is that that's one of the things I really appreciate about the DCC community, because when you post something on there, people are constructive. They like intelligent discussion and things like this. And I'm fully aware that our podcast is not that, right? But my point is
but if they can be civil and productive with even our podcast, they must be good guys.
Exactly. I mean, if the tabletop twats can get along with them, then that's what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
They're really good people. So well done, DCC community.
Cheers, guys.
Last of all, let's talk about our plans for the future with the series and with APs in general, because for Foreign Beggars, what are we doing with it, guys?
Just as long as possible, pretty much.
Yep, James, nail on the head there. That's about
as long as we possibly can. I'm absolutely loving this journey. Grimald feels like my son now.
He's like a horrible little hobbit son.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like literally, if we can continue this for another year, then we're going to be made up.
That would be amazing.
We're going to be happy.
That would be amazing.
100%. There's no doubt about that. That's what we want to do, long as possible. Whatever shape that takes, or where the adventure takes these two characters, we don't fucking know. I don't fucking know. If people are disappointed that I don't necessarily have a gigantic arcing plan, I do to some extent. It's just that it's loose, and
it has to be, doesn't it?
Of course it does.
Especially with us.
With these two, it has to be loose.
But in APs in general, I think we can honestly say, hand on heart, this is a intrinsic part of the TT podcast now.
Yes, exactly. But what we want to do, if this were to end, we're going to jump over to Mutant Called Classics, and if that then ends, the other idea I had was that I wanted to play Labyrinth Lord. But to be a massive juxtaposition to these characters, I wanted you guys to play really, really rich lords that get transported to Ravenloft, and I wanted to call it Raven Lords.
Yes.
That was an idea that I had. I mean, it's really
We've gone on holiday by mistake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Brilliant.
That was that was an idea I had, and I thought that you guys would absolutely smash it, because it's like 1 minute you're drinking tea and next minute you're being chased by a bone wagon of skeletons.
Mate, it's so funny. We wouldn't have a clue other than to throw money at it. That would be really good.
Oh, get it off me.
I've got cash, you know.
Jeeves.
I can buy you.
Where is Jeeves?
Jeeves, help me.
That would be so funny.
To round this segment off before... Grimald and Minoc should be right on their way, but to round this segment off, just before they're here, we got a couple of community questions. So Owen Lean comes in, he says, what are your top tips for recording an actual play?
Just went over it, didn't we?
Yeah, we kind of went over it, but I've got a couple...
Oh, for other people, you mean?
Yeah.
Sorry, I misread that question.
Well,
top
for
tips.
the GM, right, then obviously there's the planning, but for the editor, or the producer of it, then there's also, you know, if the GM isn't the producer of it, then those two will need to have a discussion. And just because you need to have, we already know the balance, you know, with the keeping silent, the mic discipline, the repeating lines.
Right, James.
Very true. Yeah,
that's a very good point, because I've done actual play podcasts before where I've produced it but hadn't been the GM. A very, very good example of this, if you go to the Wild Die podcast and listen to their Lankmar actual play, I was a player on that, and Nick was a player as well. But Eric GM'd it and I produced it, so it has the production of the Foreign Beggars that you guys would be used to, but it's a Lankmar actual play, and it was fucking awesome. That was really fun to play, wasn't it?
Really good.
Nick and I's characters sort of had an intertwined background. I played a rat dude, and Nick played a sort of swashbuckling womanizer. And we had to track down this pirate. Anyway,
man, so funny.
Before the game, Eric said to me, right, like what should I be doing here? Is there any tips before we get on and things like this? And we just had a quick discussion. So that it could make my job editing and producing it easier. So it's sort of like, almost like you and the GM are co-directors.
Descriptive, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, very, very good tip, James. And another
I'd
tip.
say the listener. Always think of the listener first if you're recording APs.
100%, because you're everybody thinks their games are hilarious and brilliant and great to listen to. You know why? Because they're for you. They're not for everyone. But when you make your AP, make it for everyone. That's what you should do. Not for everyone, but for a select audience, or for people that would want to listen to it.
Absolutely.
The reason that your game is good for the 5 people that play your game is because it's good for those 5 people. It's tailored for you, but it doesn't mean it's good for a wider audience. So make it a bit broader if you're going to make an AP. Mine is also not that we have the best mics on the planet, but get ones that are slightly better than cheap crappy ones.
Absolutely.
The ones that we record on are just 40 quid mics. They're a pretty, that's a lot of money for me, but the fact of the matter is that still I splashed out.
Yeah, we had to. Yeah, we had to. And to be fair, I mean, they've been going for nearly 2 years now.
Yeah, because there's an RPG podcast that I met recently that do a fantastic podcast. I'm trying to be vague about this, but their concept of their podcast is brilliant, where they've made their own entire system, right? And they've been going for 65 fucking episodes.
Whoa.
And the story is brilliant, and they rotate GMs per season as well,
cool.
and bring back old characters.
That's cool.
But they still, after 65 episodes, have not upgraded their mics.
No.
And when you can't understand what they're saying, it's just such a shame, because the podcast is so brilliant.
So good, yeah. The only thing that's letting them down is mechanical failure, basically.
It doesn't have to be, professional studio quality. It just has to be good enough to be listened to, because one of our favourite podcasts, who I can't remember the bloody
Delvers.
The Delvers, that's it. Sorry, bloody brain. The Delvers, their mics, honestly, they're a bit crappy, but the podcast is so good that it's worth a listen. But you just want to get something that's above.
Dog shit.
So basically, what we're saying is your setup. It's got to be good. A little tip that we do
is get a pop shield.
Yeah, pop shield. Sit appropriately close or away from the mic, and also do some sound dampening. Yeah. We use pillows just put against the wall.
That's nothing technical or professional. We literally put a couple of pillows behind our mics.
It's your standard bedroom producing kind of etiquette, isn't it? So and just stop reverberation and natural reverb and all this stuff.
And with regards to where you are, you don't want to be here.
But you don't want to be back here. You want to be about here.
Yeah, so there you go. And that's it. And he also says, Harrison, would you run a workshop on producing podcasts? No.
Trade secrets, top secrets.
Top secrets.
Top secrets, even though we just told you all of them.
Shit!
Yeah, not the proper inner secrets.
No, because there are some secrets I will not give, like all the ones we just did.
Yeah.
Exactly. Next one comes in from Terry Hansen. He says, tell me, what do you think the secret is behind your podcast's amazing success? Do you know what annoys me about this? Is he keeps on asking this question. He asked the same question on my anime podcast, and I think he's mocking me.
I've got an answer for
I didn't know it was that successful. It's nice that we...
Nick, he's mocking us. Fuck Terry.
Fuck Terry. All right. Well, Terry, when you become our agent, then we can do better than that.
Yeah, Terry, if you think you got the secret to becoming successful, well, why don't you come on here and prove it?
Bring it.
You prick. Mocking us.
Yeah, you village idiot who've ruined.
Oh my god, you blew everything in the first episode. No, I know what he's getting at.
Actually, you know
Him.
what?
That's what he's trying to say, isn't he? He wants us to say it's him, that character.
Oh, it's you,
in
Terry.
the first episode that has made this so successful.
All right, so let's move on because I think I hear a limo pulling up outside. My name is Harrison Hunt, and welcome to this new brilliant chat show, Dungeon Chat Classics. And of course, we've got two very special guests with us tonight. They are two penniless hobos from the gutter. They know all about scraping the bottom of the butter. It is, of course, Grimald and Minoc. Hello, you guys.
Hello. I don't really know what's happening.
I would say it's nice to be here, but it wasn't. It was an awful journey.
What, you didn't enjoy the limo ride?
Oh no, that part was nice. It was being dragged through the portal again.
I remember the limo
Quite nasty.
ride.
What
It reminded me of my rich days.
We tried Cavossier. Is that it?
Yes, Cavossier, we had some of that. What did you make of the peanuts? Did you like those?
Peanuts, yes, they were
I
rather
couldn't
tasty.
get my hands around how we could get them from within their containment packet.
Right, okay.
So I just let them whole.
Right, well, obviously, thank you very much for coming down here. I do apologise for dragging you out of your fantasy universe and into ours to...
It's alright, it's alright. Long as we're not here too long. This area is funny.
Well, is this all the pollution?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. Pollutant.
Grimald, got a question for you first of all. As we all know, you were taken into the notorious Assassin's Guild, the Black Finger, at a young age, and brainwashed into thinking that what you were doing was right, killing many, many innocents simply for cash and laughing as you did it. What was it that made you realise that what you were doing was one of the worst sins a man could commit? And keep it light, this is a comedy show.
Well, thing is, yeah, back in my bad days, I weren't really thinking too straight. I got fed up with the blood. Washing it out your fingernails gets really annoying after a while. And you don't make a lot of friends when you're slaughtering them. See? And I bumped into this lump over here. Yeah, he told me to stop it and all that, and I had to get over my wicked ways.
It's a very touching story, Grim.
Yeah.
Very touching.
Thanks.
Minoc, during the show, you often talk about how you used to have money working for a rich family. Is this genuinely true?
No. I mean, sorry.
And if so, what was it like losing all of that?
Well, I'm not going to lie and say it was an easy transition. You know, imagine going from the richest of the rich to the poorest of the poor. Just imagine it. It's horrible.
No, I can't.
Okay, well...
It's not that bad.
Well, obviously, you can't understand it either because you weren't in my position. But...
Neither are you. Anyway, sorry.
But, you know, when I was a rich man, I liked to give money to the poor and helpless. People like in my position that I am now. I'm glad I did that. I'm glad I did that because now I truly understand how it is to be poor in it. It's horrible.
Yes, we haven't got a lot of time, Monica. So, of course, you guys have been on a lot of adventures together, especially since your first one, where you remember when all of the homeless people of Fanning City started to go missing, and you investigated.
Yes.
That strange keep on the hill.
Oh, yes.
Very strange.
Of all the things that you've done thus far, what was the scariest thing that you've done together?
All of it, if I'm honest with you. It's all been freaking... Am I allowed to swear on this?
No.
Okay. It's all been frigging terrifying. 1 minute we're down an alley begging, making a living, and the next thing you know, we're saving the world over and over again. It's a heavy burden on these little shoulders, I'm not going to lie. So yeah, all of it. I'm still terrified now.
I'm absolutely with Grim on this. I'm pretty much just scared day in, day out nowadays. Ever since, we stopped the begging and started the saving, so I've just been petrified.
Yeah, permanent trauma is this kind of state we live in now.
Well, that does sound quite horrible. Do you feel as if you're suited to the task of saving the world? I mean,
No.
Well, thank you for interrupting, Minoc. But having been the ones to destroy it, do you feel as if it is your responsibility to save it?
No.
We didn't ask for any of this, be honest with you. But it is now our calling.
I suppose, yes.
So we must, I suppose, if we want any kind of redemption for the small accident that occurred with the egg and the sword.
So you would describe the most cataclysmic event to ever happen to your fantasy realm as a small accident?
Yes, it was.
Small whoopsie.
It was a small, tiny little mishap, and
And we are trying to make good on that. And we have been ever since. I mean, not going to be fixed overnight or anything.
no, it seems to be a constant struggle at the moment, trying to fix our wrongs. But
Okay.
We're getting there, though.
And along the way, obviously, you guys have met a lot of colourful characters. But of all of these characters, which is which one has stuck out to you the most? Which one did you like the most? We'll start with Grimald.
Well, I'm glad you asked that. What's his name again?
Harrison.
I'm glad you asked that, Harrison. There is one person that I'm very fond of. I called him my son, Woosley. The little kid.
You're gonna have to remind me who this is.
He was a young lad, but he had a voice of an 80-year-old.
Oh, him.
Yeah, he got destroyed by
Guy in episode 7. He was you knew him for barely 5 minutes.
Yeah, but we had a connection that was like no other.
I feel like that might have been one way, Grimald.
No, not at all. I mean, he got mashed to death by a man bat. Come on, show a little bit of respect. But Woosley, if you are somewhere out there in the afterlife, Daddy's sorry. I've got your arrowhead in my pocket.
And Minoc, how about you? You're a very friendly person.
yes, I am. Thank you.
Said no one ever. So, who's the first person? Who's the favourite person that you've met along the way?
Well, actually, there is one person who I do kind of miss. Do you remember the torturer?
How can I forget the torturer?
Neubert. He was a grand man.
You having a laugh, Miney?
So,
No.
was it? Well, I mean, he did originally try to kill you, but obviously, as you raced through the King's Spire, trying to leave, you guys created quite a bond, didn't you, Miney?
Yes, we did. We got on well. We drank and we spoke and we discussed our lives, and
Oh yeah.
he was like a brother to me.
Right.
A really ginormous, gargantuan brother to me.
It's got a bit awkward in here all of a sudden.
You guys fall in love very easily, don't you?
What?
What?
Well, I mean, the thing is, these are two people that you've met for 5 minutes, and well, one of them's a brother and the other's a son.
You got to remember, before all our adventuring and high adventure happened, our best mates were a couple of rats that were living in the sewer. One was dead.
Well, I had Jeeves and Jeffrey.
What?
Oh, you're not going that far back. You mean our poor days? I thought you were referring to the rich days.
Well, I've only had poor days. I've had poor days and murder days. They're my 2 sets of days that I've existed in.
Right. So, actually, I got a note here from somebody from within your universe as well, who just actually wanted to ask a question of you guys.
Who is it?
You might know him. His name's Owen Lean.
What?
Shit.
Sorry, what?
Yes. He wonders who would win in a fight between Grimald and Minoc.
That would never happen. None of us, because we're such good friends.
But hypothetically,
It's obviously me, innit?
Grim,
I'd snap his leg.
I can't believe you were so hot off the mark with that.
No, I mean, it's hypothetical, innit? It's not real.
Well, hypothetically, it still wouldn't happen now, would it?
No, oh, well, yeah. Well, I'd snap his leg and then stab him with it. No, of course not.
I'd snap his neck then. Me?
We'll talk about this after. You can't speak to your king like that.
Well, okay, thanks very much for coming in, guys. I really appreciate you coming in for the interview.
Was
I
that
think yeah, that's it. I mean,
we have to go.
well,
now.
yeah, we got to wrap this up.
Where's the food?
Oh,
Well, we don't have a lot of time.
got more
Where's
champagne.
food? Can I take this fluffy thing?
Got some more champagne.
No, you can't take that. No more champagne.
Caviar, please.
Look, well, there's strict budgets on a chat
Al-kebab.
show like this. Will you guys shut up? I'm trying to do the outro.
Okay.
Okay, just shut up for a minute, and we'll get you some Skittles. All right, so that was Grimald and Minoc, everyone. Thank you very much for coming in to those guys. It was very insightful into their characters and what they're actually like. Very funny. So... cheers, guys, and if you just like to walk off to that area of the stage over there, you will see a portal has opened up to send you back to your fantasy dimension. Unfortunately, temporal law does dictate that you do have to go back to your universe to where you have to deal with the apocalypse again. So, see you later, everyone.
you.
Everyone give a big hand to Grimald and Minoc.
Back to reality then. Hey, Grim, what do you mean that you take me and you snap my leg?
You're misunderstanding.
No, I'm not misunderstanding at all.
It was hypothetical.
No, even hypothetically, I said it wouldn't happen. Do you actually dislike me then?
No, not at all. I love you, but the thing
Then
is,
why would you say that we'd have this fight?
I always measure everyone I know, just in case.
Excuse me.
What?
Could you go into your portal, please?
I'll go in when I'm ready.
We're in the middle of something here, all right?
No,
Look,
it costs an extraordinary amount of money to keep this open.
just a minute.
I like your world. I just want to stay here a little bit longer. That's what I'm trying to say.
Sir,
let's clear this up,
sir,
Grim.
excuse me, sirs. No, I don't want to have to call security.
Fine.
Okay, I'll ask you one more time. Get in the portal, please.
We'll finish this later, Miney.
You have a lisp. Goodbye.
Well, that's really unkind to point out. Okay, security.
Run, Miney, run, quick.
Get in the damn portal.
Yeah. We're
I'm
going.
gonna cut you.
Let's get back to that horrible old place again. We'll see you again, whatever this is. What's this place called?
The Earth.
Earth. All right, Earth. We maybe see each other again.
See you soon, the Earth.
Bye.
See you later.